Check the microphones. Can everybody hear me okay?
David, here. Yeah. Do you want to give me your binder? Do you want me to put your stuff here in the order? Are you okay?
Yeah, I'm good.
Okay.
Mark, come over here. Right now? Okay. Over here. Okay, we'll balance out. There we go. 2 and 2.
Everybody's good. Good morning, everyone. Bonjour tout le monde. Je m'appelle Yasser Naqvi. Je suis député pour Ottawa Centre. My name is Yasser Naqvi. I have the great honor of serving as the Member of Parliament for Ottawa Centre. I want to welcome you all at the headquarters of the Ottawa Police Service. And I want to start by acknowledging that we're meeting here on the unsurrendered territory of the Algonquin Anishinaabe people. We are grateful to them for the opportunity for us to live on this land and our commitment to continue to work with the Algonquin people as better stewards of this land as well. We are here today to talk about the safety of our community as the nation's capital. This is a very important moment, not only for our country, but for our community as well. And that's why I'm very grateful to be here with some really hardworking community partners and champions. I'm thrilled to be here with David McGuinty, who's the Member of Parliament for Ottawa South and the Minister of Public Safety, with Anita Vandenbeld, who is the Member of Parliament for Ottawa West Nepean, Mark Sutcliffe, the Mayor of Ottawa, along with Councillor Marty Carr, who is the Vice Chair of the Ottawa Police Services Board, and also, of course, Chief of Police for Ottawa, Eric Stubbs. I also want to acknowledge the presence of members of the RCMP and the Parliamentary Protective Services, PPS, as well, who have joined us. I won't take too much of your time, but to thank you for being here for this important announcement and the partnership that we have with Ottawa Police and with City of Ottawa. And at that note, I would like to welcome Minister of Public Safety and Member of Parliament for Ottawa South, David McGuinty, to the podium. David.
Thank you very much. Good. Find my way here.
Okay. Well, good morning, everyone. Bonjour tout le monde. Thank you very much for being here on such a beautiful Ottawa winter morning. I heard the birds this morning. That's good news. We're on our way. Can I just give that to you? Thank you very much. Good. Well, thank you again for being here. It's wonderful to be here with Mayor Sutcliffe and my incredible colleagues, Yasser Naqvi and Anita Vandenbelt, as well as my colleague from my own riding, Marty Carr, who's a terrific city councillor with the chief. I do want to take a second to thank all of my parliamentary colleagues, many of whom are not here today, all 12 members of the National Capital Region Caucus on both sides of our river, our beautiful river, which is just not that wide, as I like to say. We are connected, for their relentless support for today's announcement. As many of you know, I've had the privilege of representing Ottawa South for over 20 years in the House of Commons. I've seen our incredible city grow, change, and evolve. We're now a major census metropolitan area for the country, and we're growing quickly. We've been through a lot. Our downtowns are still recovering from the COVID-19 pandemic and the ever-changing nature of work. Nos centres-villes se remettent encore de la pandémie de COVID-19 et de l'évolution constante de la nature du travail. We need to ensure our downtowns do not get left behind, and that applies to Ottawa. We need to keep it vibrant and safe and connected. Alongside the Royal Canadian Mounted Police and the Parliamentary Protective Service, the City of Ottawa and the Ottawa Police Service work every single day to keep Parliament and the area around it safe for our residents, for tourists, for parliamentary staff, and elected officials. At this time, we're seeing an increase in hate-motivated crime. Our frontline police folks know this. We're seeing threats to both our communities and our elected officials. We see it every day, whether it be online or on our way to work in the morning. I'd just like to add, especially as tomorrow is International Women's Day, I'm here with several incredible women who come to work in the downtown core every day, two of whom are with me today, and I know that the hate that they experience online and on the street is far worse than it is for their male counterparts. We know this, we acknowledge this, and we need to deal with this. Canada's Parliament has always been open, accessible, and welcoming to Canadians and visitors alike. And we need to keep it that way. Le Parlement canadien a toujours été ouvert, accessible et accueillant pour les Canadiens comme pour les visiteurs. Et nous devons faire en sorte qu'il le reste. It goes beyond just people. This is our special responsibility in the nation's capital. We need to safeguard the democratic ideals that this country was built on and that the Parliament buildings represent, including peace, order, good government, and the right to peaceful assembly, which we all cherish and we all want to protect. Chief Stubbs, you and I have been working on this for a long time, and I want to thank you for your leadership and commitment to our community and all of your members. We know that you're active with the Ottawa Board of Trade's Downtown Champions Committee, working to keep our core vibrant and safe. So today I am more than honored to be announcing a $50 million investment to establish a dedicated policing presence around Parliament Hill, the Parliament District Policing Program. And from my perspective, this is long overdue. C'est pourquoi j'annonce aujourd'hui un investissement de 50 millions de dollars pour établir une présence policière dédiée autour de la colline du Parlement, le programme de police du district du Parlement. This new program is the result of an increase in protest activity, in part in our downtown core, including the infamous convoy protests. This will give the Ottawa Police Service even more resources to keep our downtown safe, ensuring real-time responses to any emergencies. This new policing unit will build on the strong existing working relationship between the Ottawa Police Service, the Royal Canadian Mounted Police, and the Parliamentary Protective Service, allowing for more responsive policing and enhanced collaboration between these agencies. We have an obligation to get this right together. Today's announcement responds to a strong recommendation of the Public Order Emergency Commission's report of the public inquiry into the 2022 public order emergency, which recommended a dedicated police presence for Parliament Hill. Given its experience in responding to demonstrations and protests, the OPS is well positioned to establish a dedicated detachment around Parliament Hill and bolster its policing presence in the district. I want to take this opportunity to thank Mayor Sutcliffe, Chief Stubbs, and I really want to take this opportunity to thank all of Ottawa's first responders. Each and every day, our first responders keep Ottawa safe. They are always there, and we can never take their service for granted. So please, Chief, can you please pass this on to all of your members? They know the extent to which our citizens are deeply appreciative of the work that you do every day. It is not always easy. We recognize this, and that's why we're so pleased to be here to provide additional support. So Mayor and Chief, we value our partnership. We look forward to strengthening it in the coming years. Thank you very much. Merci beaucoup.
Thank you very much, Minister McGuinty. David, thank you so much for that announcement. Bonjour tout le monde. Great to be here with you today. I'm really pleased to be joined by Yasser and Anita. And like David, I want to recognize all of the members of the MPs who represent us locally who are not here today, some of whom worked very hard on this file, including Mona Fortier and Jenna Sudds and others. So I want to thank them as well. As all of you know, and as I talk about a lot, Ottawa is unique. We are not just a rapidly growing city with a population of 1.1 million. We are the nation's capital. Nous sommes la capitale du Canada. We are also a massive city geographically, more than 4.5 times the geographic size of Toronto. For many years now, the team at the Ottawa Police Service has been working hard not just to serve and protect the residents of a vast and rapidly growing community, but also support the efforts to keep the nation's capital, including the parliamentary district, safe. This is something that Marty and I have talked about a lot in our roles on the Police Services Board. And this has continued, as you all know, during a time of rising demand in both areas. Today, we're very excited about the federal government's announcement of new funding to support these efforts. Je voudrais prendre un moment pour remercier le ministre McGuinty et son équipe de Sécurité Publique Canada. I want to take a moment to thank Minister McGuinty and his team at Public Safety Canada for this significant investment in our city and in our police service. And David, I also want to thank you for the tremendous leadership that you're showing right now on so many other important files that are affecting the future of our country at a critical time. You've been playing a very strong leadership role during a very challenging time for Canada, and we are all grateful for that, so thank you. And again, I want to thank Anita, Yasser, Marie-France, Jenna, Mona, and all the other representatives locally, and recognize Marty, my colleague and Vice Chair of the Police Services Board. And most of all, I want to commend the members of the Ottawa Police Service who continue to serve and protect our community, including the parliamentary district, with courage and integrity. We're so grateful for your efforts every single day. Merci pour votre engagement à protéger notre ville, nos résidents, et tout ce qui traverse la circonscription parlementaire. Thank you for your commitment to protecting our city, our residents, and everyone who travels through the parliamentary district. And I want to say thank you to the senior leadership team of the Ottawa Police Service, the frontline police officers, special constables, civilians, and detectives. Every chance I get to thank a member of the Ottawa Police Service, I take that opportunity because they do very, very tough work every single day. And I want to say, welcome Marie-France Lalonde, who's just arrived. Bienvenue. Merci pour être ici. So again, very proud of the work that's being done by the Ottawa Police Service in partnership with PPS and with the RCMP. Your combined efforts We'll ensure that those that we have chosen to represent us on Parliament Hill are protected and all those who work for them as well. Vos efforts de collaboration permettront de veiller à la protection des personnes qui nous avons choisies pour nous représenter sur la colline du Parlement. Today's funding will also mean more officers are available to respond to emergencies in our neighborhoods. That's been one of the challenges that we've faced as a community, is the divided responsibilities and the pressures of not only serving the entire community, but also serving the nation's capital and the parliamentary precinct. They'll have the time and resources to prevent and solve crimes in Ottawa and keep our communities safe, the parliamentary district included. C'est une victoire pour notre ville. This is a win for our city. So I'm thankful that our federal counterparts have always recognized the scope of the challenge to protect the residents of our city, and I'm pleased that today's announcement serves as another great example of how we continue to work with our federal partners, our representatives who are here today, and those who are not, to secure investment for Ottawa, to secure investment in Ottawa, to make our city safer, more reliable, and more affordable for everyone. Je suis heureux que l'annonce d'aujourd'hui soit un autre excellent exemple de la façon dont nous continuons à travailler avec nos partenaires fédéraux pour investir dans Ottawa, pour rendre notre ville plus sécuritaire, plus abordable et plus fiable pour tout le monde. A city that we proudly can call home. So once again, I want to thank the minister, our local MPs, and our partners here today. I want to share my appreciation to Chief Stubbs and the entire OPS team for their dedication in serving our community. Thank you. Merci beaucoup. And now I'm going to introduce the Chief of Police, and I'm very grateful for all the work that Chief Stubbs has done over the last couple of years. Just a moment ago, he was teasing me about how I have more gray hair than he does. You know, I assume that's because his job is less stressful than mine. That must be the reason, right? No, that's not the case at all. We're grateful to Chief Stubbs and his team for everything they do. So it's my pleasure to introduce him now. Chief Stubbs.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and welcome everyone. Bienvenue à tous. Minister McGuinty, Mayor Sutcliffe.
Over here on this side now.
You moved on me. There you go. Vice Chair Carr, and our local MPs that are here. Thank you very much for coming. I also want to just acknowledge Chief Superintendent Mitch Monet, also here, who's in charge of the Parliamentary Protective Service. Great to have that important partner here. Je vous remercie de votre présence. This is a big day for the Ottawa Police Service. Minister McGuinty, I want to start with Public Safety Canada. Minister, your work and your team, they were simply outstanding partners to work with. It started with my first meeting with Assistant Deputy Minister. I know Talal wanted to be here but isn't today. Our initial discussions about safety and security in the parliamentary precinct area. And as our discussions advanced, all the partners were involved. À mesure que nos discussions avançaient, tous les partenaires étaient impliqués. The Parliamentary Protective Service, the Sergeant-at-Arms, the House and the Senate security teams, and of course the RCMP. The collaboration was impressive. An agreement on the framework and the model that was proposed, it was aligned with all the partners and their mandates. La collaboration a été remarquable. Et les accords sur le cadre et le modèle proposé ont été approuvés par tous les partenaires. Now, with this federal investment, all of us are building a stronger, dedicated police presence in the heart of our democracy. And it's imperative that those who are charged with leading our country also feel safe doing so on Parliament Hill. Our team, led by Superintendent Russell Lucas, who is over to my right, they started working on the ground last fall and have been actively collaborating with our parliamentary partners, and the initial feedback has been overwhelmingly positive. Notre équipe a commencé à travailler sur le terrain l'automne dernier et collabore activement avec nos partenaires parlementaires. Les premières réactions ont été vraiment positives. It's important to know, and we have a chart here, the area that this team is going to work. You can see to the east to Lyon Street and to the south to Queen, all the way over to Elgin. That includes the Senate buildings as well. And with that area, the Ottawa Police Service, as we know, we respond to a number of protests and major events throughout the year, over 800, and predominantly many are within or around the Parliament. Our full-time police liaison team, which is included in this funding, will engage in proactive community outreach, fostering open and ongoing communication with those that wish to protest in the area. This initiative goes beyond a visible police presence. It also represents our commitment to addressing the concerns of politicians, the residents, the workers, and visitors in the parliamentary district. Together, we will continue to ensure that Ottawa remains a safe and welcoming place for everyone. Ensemble, on va continuer d'assurer que la ville d'Ottawa reste un endroit sûr et agréable pour tout le monde. Merci. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Minister McGuinty, Mayor Sutcliffe, and Chief Stubbs. Thank you for your leadership. As a Member of Parliament for downtown Ottawa, I cannot stress you enough how important this announcement is for the well-being of our community, for our businesses, people who live there and work in the downtown core. I don't want to sugarcoat it, but I think you all remember how challenging and difficult a period it was during the almost month-long occupation of downtown Ottawa. As a Member of Parliament, at that time fairly newly elected, I was advised by RCMP and PPS to perhaps consider attending the Parliament virtually, that I should not go in person because my personal safety was at risk. I refused to take their advice because I felt strongly that I needed to be in the Parliament speaking on behalf of my constituents. But I share this with you to imagine what people who live and work in downtown Ottawa went through. For almost a month, they were hostages in their own home, abused by incessant horns all night long. And what did Pierre Poilievre, an Ottawa area Member of Parliament, do? He abandoned our city. He encouraged those protesters to continue with the occupation. Heck, in fact, he brought them coffee and donuts there. My community has not forgotten that. And it's another example how Pierre Poilievre is not suitable to lead this country, that he is the wrong choice at a wrong time. We are investing in our downtown core in the parliamentary district so that we don't live through that ever again. And I'm really grateful of the federal government, the partnership with City of Ottawa and Ottawa Police, along with RCMP and PPS for the work they do every single day to make sure that not only Canadians are able to express their democratic right, to have the freedom of expression in a peaceful manner, but in addition, the people who live in downtown Ottawa, people who work in downtown Ottawa, those small business owners who have put their heart and soul in building their businesses, that they continue to work and live peacefully as well. So thank you very much. I will now pass on to some friend from Ottawa Police Service to lead the question and answer period. Merci beaucoup.
Thank you very much. Good morning, everyone. Bonjour à tous. Thank you all to all of our speakers this morning. Merci à tous nos intervenants ce matin. My name is Constable Kaylee Walker from the Ottawa Police Service, and I'll be your moderator for the question and answer period. Je suis l'agent Kaylee Walker et l'administratrice de cette séance des questions et réponses. We have approximately 10 to 15 minutes for questions. Nous avons environ 10 à 15 minutes pour la période des questions. I will now invite each media agency to ask one question and one follow-up question. J'inviterai maintenant chaque média à poser une question et une question de suivi. Please raise your hand and identify yourself and the media you represent. We have a microphone to the side over there. If it's possible, please use that. We are here to discuss today's announcement, so I would ask that you keep your questions to this topic due to our limited time. On vous demande de poser une question lien du sujet de ces rencontres. Merci. I will now start with
Anya Cadeglia, Canadian Press, and my question is for the minister. Minister McGuinty, given that the U.S. is still expressing concern about what is a tiny amount of fentanyl going over the border, do you think there's any way to convince them of this and make your case, or are the tariffs really not about fentanyl or the border at all?
The first thing to remember and to remind Canadians is that less than 1% of fentanyl entering the United States is entering from Canada. Less than 1% of illegal migration into the United States is from Canada. We have made a decision through our border plan to make a strong border even stronger. It's in our own self-interest to strengthen that border. It's in our interest to appoint a fentanyl czar, which we've done, to deal with the scourge of fentanyl in our own backyard, right here in this city. The chief and the team here, councillors, the city can explain to you in greater detail how we're struggling with this. This is a national issue. It's also a national issue in the United States. So as we move to strengthen the border, as we move to cooperate on the fentanyl crisis, it's clear we can't do it unless we do it together. So these investments we're making in the border, the fact that a new administration has raised the profile of the need to address the fentanyl crisis is something we accept. And it has helped accelerate a number of investments. Donc, nous avons pris des décisions, nous avons investi selon notre plan de la frontière qui a aidé avec la priorité de l'administration américaine à accélérer les investissements. Mais nous sommes déjà au courant du fait que le fentanyl, c'est une crise au Canada, dans nos communautés. C'est une crise aussi aux États-Unis, dans leur communauté. Et nous savons, avec, par exemple, la nomination du nouveau czar de fentanyl, qu'il faut travailler ensemble, d'arrache-pied, ensemble, entre nos pays, pour résoudre le défi du fentanyl. Donc, voilà où nous sommes rendus. La question de négociation avec l'administration américaine continue, évidemment. The relationship we have with the new administration is one that continues. We continue to manage that relationship, certainly in public safety. Our agencies are working with their counterparts in the United States. It's a seamless exchange of information, of cooperation at the border and beyond. We've announced a series of measures as well to deal with this. So we're moving forward. And the fentanyl crisis is something that we take very seriously because maybe I'll close with you on this. A stronger border contributes to safer communities. And I think our frontline policing folks understand this. Stronger border, safer communities.
But the U.S. doesn't seem to be satisfied with the efforts that Canada is making. So how do you continue making that case to the Trump administration?
There are many ways in which we are working with our counterparts in the United States. Our CBSA is working with the Customs and Border Patrol as a partner. The RCMP is working with the Drug Enforcement Administration and the FBI. We've launched 10 new strike force teams between Canada and the United States because we recognize this is an issue that we have to wrestle to the ground together. Fentanyl is not like other drugs because it tends to wreak enormous havoc and it kills people and it's very dangerous and the recipes keep changing. So we're cooperating right now between our countries closely on things like precursors coming from countries like China. We're cooperating with these joint strike force teams. We're cooperating in terms of sharing information and intelligence across the border. So there's many, many ways in which we're connected. We're going to continue doing this because it's in the interests of our own communities. And it's in the interests of the communities in the United States that are being affected by fentanyl. And our czar, Kevin Brasso, with 22 years experience in frontline policing and security work, is helping to pull all of this together. Here's a small example of something else we're doing. We're standing up new laboratories in Canada at Health Canada. It will help us track and trace fentanyl in terms of the precursors, where they're coming from. We've also listed 7 criminal cartels as terrorist organizations under the criminal code. This will give our policing frontline enforcement folks more authority, not just to track and trace money flows, but also if somebody decides to partner with a cartel, our police forces now, our law enforcement folks, will be able to go after their assets. So this decision was made very deliberately. So it's a very much a whole of society approach to a really serious challenge. But thank you for the question.
Hi there, Natalia Goodwin from CBC, and my first question is for Chief Stubbs. So if you can just explain, I guess briefly, there's probably a long answer to this, but how this will all work. We know that jurisdiction is an issue on the Hill, and so will you guys be now the first call if something happens on the Hill, and as well with those larger protests, if we were to have a bigger convoy, you know, how will that work? How does it work on the day-to-day, and then in a bigger situation?
Right. It's a very good question. As I mentioned in my remarks, when we sort of agreed to this model, it was respecting everybody's mandates. And for example, the Parliamentary Protective Service has a specific mandate in terms of the buildings and the grounds of Parliament Hill, and they are the security for that area. But they are not peace officers. We are. So when there are issues that require a police attendance, our collaboration and interoperability to work with them is what we've established, so we can, in a more timely manner, respond to concerns that are in that area. In the past, they've had to call us, and our front line have had to respond, and the response times haven't been as quick as we would like, or they would like, or the people involved would like. So the idea is to ensure that there's a timely response, and also, and it's very important, that our members that are on the team, the OPS members, there's a lot of privilege, and there's a lot of rules and protocol on Parliament Hill, and we need to respect them and understand them. And the team that is working on the ground has been educated, working very closely with the teams to make sure that it's seamless and it does nothing but help the safety of the folks on the Hill, the visitors, the workers, and of course the politicians. And you know, as per the the zone that they're going to work in, it is the Hill is a focus, of course, but Wellington, Sparks, Queen, down to the Senate. We'll also have a presence there. Of course, the PMO's office is in this area as well too. Often attracts some attention. So we'll make sure that that we cover that area and people feel comfortable not only on the Hill but just off it as well, where the Parliamentary Protective Service doesn't have that jurisdiction, you know, on Wellington and Sparks and whatnot.
And so you'll be the main liaison with another large protest that may come?
Yeah, so when there's protests, say on the Hill, on the actual grounds, the parliamentary precinct, the service will, they approve permits for those protests. But often, as we see, they congregate on Wellington, or they want to march, do a snake march to an embassy, or whatever they might want to do. And that's where we're involved, and we'll work with them to coordinate that. Our police liaisons will work with the organizers if they do want to march, so we can do it safely, lawfully, peacefully.
And I just have a question about the funding. Our mayor has come out and talked a lot about Ottawa's budget, and you have talked a lot about the police budget.
Right.
Is this a one-time, or will this be continually funding? Maybe the minister can answer that. Or
Maybe I will leave that for the minister. Or okay, so it is a 5-year funding envelope, and we certainly have worked with Public Safety Canada at the assessment at around the 3-year mark. We're going to actively obviously provide, we have a lot of feedback, KPIs that we have to produce to justify our existence, to justify that the funds that have been awarded to us, so we can hopefully continue this program going into the future. But right now, it's a 5-year package.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Still for you, Mr. Stubbs.
Yes.
Frédéric de Radio-Canada. So, new officers, how many? And you also, I heard district, like a precinct. So does it mean physical space or an office for them? Like, so technically, what does it mean?
Right. So we're building the team up. Obviously, we have a lot of demands across the city for various programs that we're building, short on the front line and whatnot. So we're actively hiring a lot of people. If anyone wants to apply, ottawapolice.ca. We're accepting applicants. So we do have to spread out, those extra resources that we are hiring into the demands across the city. But this is a priority. It will take us a couple of 3 years maximum to build up the team to the level that we're funded for. Public Safety Canada is aware of that. So I won't talk to how many people we have on the ground right now for obvious reasons, but at the end there's a blend of sworn and some civilians as well too that'll be working in our logistics side, planning side for some of these events. But we'll have north of 40, I think it's 42, 49 employees that will be part of this team.
OK, thank you. Question for the minister en français et peut-être pour M. Sutcliffe en même temps. Moi, ce que je me demande, c'est que cette entente-là, c'est pour 5 ans. Donc, est-ce que le gouvernement fédéral veut encore que le district parlementaire soit sous la tutelle du service de protection parlementaire à long terme? Il y avait des discussions que Wellington pourrait éventuellement être sous la responsabilité du gouvernement et du service de protection. Est-ce que c'est encore en cours, ces discussions-là, ou avec cette annonce-là, on laisse tomber ce plan-là?
Non, je pense que c'est juste dire que les discussions continuent. On veut être certain d'un plan qui rend tout plus sécuritaire, mais en même temps en respect de la juridiction de la police d'Ottawa, du rôle du Parlement. Il faut sauvegarder le fait qu'on veut que les gens soient capables de venir visiter le Parlement, que les gens ont la permission d'avoir leur protestation. C'est un élément fondamental de notre démocratie, mais c'est de la façon dont ça se fait. Et donc, on voit ici, pour 60 mois, 5 ans, une opportunité pour venir ensemble avec plusieurs joueurs pour améliorer la situation. Mais la grande question du futur de la région reste une question qu'on est en train de revoir. Et je pense qu'éventuellement, on aura plus de dire là-dessus. Say it in English as well. You're being difficult. Look, we have been... since the convoy, it's been important for us to re-examine this question of the parliamentary precinct. My colleague, Yasser Naqvi, has been foundational in leading a lot of this discussion and doing an extraordinary job at raising the profile of the need to revisit this question of who's in charge of the precinct. We want to make sure that the Parliament buildings and Parliament Hill isn't turned into some sort of fortress. We need to jealously safeguard and secure the right to protest and the right to visit and the right to be there. That's a fundamental element of our democracy. Many places in the world don't even permit it. We're not interested in that. We're interested in making sure that that's protected. But at the same time, we understand that we're facing a new threat landscape. We saw that in the convoy. I think my colleague expressed it very directly in terms of the actual impacts on folks, tens of thousands of people here. That's something we want to see repeated. The chief understands that. His officers are on the front line. The mayor's office understands it. The police services board understands it. So I think what we're seeing now is a 5-year opportunity to improve the situation. And we hope it'll have a dramatic impact in terms of, one, safeguarding our ability to protest and to visit and to go to work and be safe. And the other, of course, is to make sure that folks have the right to be there, the right to come and see Ottawa. It's a big element of our future as a city. So those are my thoughts. Mr. Mayor?
Alors, je n'ai pas beaucoup à ajouter. Je suis en accord avec le ministre McGuinty. Ce qui est important pour moi, c'est qu'il y a de la collaboration entre le GRC, le SPP, le service de la police d'Ottawa, et que les ressources sont en place. Et avec ces fonds, c'est possible. Et la discussion va continuer sur le système idéal, mais à ce moment, nous avons beaucoup plus de ressources. Et ça, c'est une amélioration pour la circonscription parlementaire, mais aussi pour toute la ville d'Ottawa.
We have time for 2 more reporters to ask questions. On a seulement de temps pour 2 autres personnes de demander des questions.
Good morning, Natalie Van Roy with CTV News. This question is for the minister. In terms of the security around the parliamentary precinct, what is the federal government's plan for the future of Wellington Street? I know at one point the government wanted to buy it from the City of Ottawa. So what is that plan?
Okay. Discussions continue. We want to make sure that we achieve the right balance between keeping our parliamentary precinct open to the Canadian public, open to visitors, open to diplomats, and open to protest. But what we've done now is we've actually pulled together a very important agreement between 3 different actors in the space: the RCMP, the Parliamentary Protective Service, and the police of local jurisdiction, the police here in the Ottawa Police Service. So Discussions will continue to see what is the most important, with the appropriate balance going forward. There are no decisions that have been taken now about the final decision about Wellington Street or about other matters, but those discussions are continuing and have been going since, and propelled, accelerated, to be honest with you, post the convoy. That really, and the inquiry raised a number of questions about making sure we get this balance right, which is why we've announced today this $50 million announcement, because this is one of the major recommendations coming from the actual inquiry, that we needed to have a strengthening of relationship between the three different actors in this space. So this continues. We're hopeful. We believe this is going to make a significant difference. We've just heard that the chief mentioned 49 individuals, I think, will be involved in delivering on this, and we think it'll make a big difference.
And follow-up question, confirming that today's funding, that is new money, correct?
That is new money, correct, that is exactly, and the money has already started to flow. Okay, thank you.
Hello, Charles avec Le Droit. I may ask the question in English. Who's going to be the police organization who's going to be in charge? Is it the Ottawa Police, the PS, the RCMP?
Right. Yeah, thank you for the question. So we are the police of jurisdiction for the parliamentary district, Parliamentary Hill, Wellington, all that area. So it is the Ottawa Police Service. Now, that's responding to calls. Depending on the nature of a call, we may refer an investigation to the RCMP if it's national security type investigations, but we are the responding police service of jurisdiction.
Is there going to be a team of each organization to make sure everything goes smooth and there's no battle of jurisdictions?
There is no battle. Like I'll say, we've got, and I have very good relationships with the RCMP at the highest levels. In terms of responding, we are the response. We are the first responders when it comes to a policing response to that area. And if we need assistance, then we will call in the RCMP. Thank you.
Merci tout le monde. This concludes our media event and availability for the day. Celui conclut nos points de presse pour aujourd'hui. Merci beaucoup.
Good job.